Our special guest for today's episode is none other than the man. It's Frank Haith, fourth season at the University of Texas. An amazing job here as an assistant coach with RT and Rick Barnes. 18 years on the D1 level as a head coach, Miami, Missouri, Tulsa. Was a 2012 AP National Coach of the Year. It's a blessing for this program to have you in this role back on the 40 acres when the opportunity presented itself. What was your thought process?
Well, you know, obviously we love Austin. My family and I, the time we've spent here was amazing. And I tell people this story all the time. When I got my job at Miami, my wife, I was going to interview, my wife said to me, you're going to talk to me before you take this job. So it leaked out that I got the job at Miami, and she was livid because she didn't want to leave Austin. So, you know, we have fond memories here. Obviously, Coach Barnes, a mentor to RT and myself, and what he meant to our family. And but it's a special place.
How'd you first meet Rodney Terry?
Wow, we go back. So, I mean, I've been in this business 30 plus years. It seems like my whole career I've known Rodney. I was assistant at Texas A&M, and Rodney was a high school coach. And it's the first time I met him, they used to come work our camps at A&M and other high school coaches in the area. So that's the first time I met him. But as he started growing in the profession and worked with Jerry Wainwright, who's someone I work with, and at UNC Wilmington, and a place that I worked, there's not many places I didn't work, but we kept our relationship going. And I remember that Coach Barnes was looking to hire someone, and I brought up Rodney's name right away, and because he's a Texas guy, but he had done an amazing job at Richmond and UNC Wilmington with Coach Wainwright, and he's a lot like me in terms of how we work. And I felt like, you know, a guy that was a grinder and polished and just sharp and a loyal guy. And but that's how we met, and we became really good friends. And our career, we were here together, but then we stayed in touch throughout both of our careers.
Describe that magic that you guys had together the first time around here at the University of Texas.
I don't want to say it was cocky, but we felt like when we went in the gym, we were getting guys. And RT was, he's a bulldog in the recruiting game. And but we were very confident in what we were doing here. First of all, Coach Barnes sold the vision about Texas being an elite program. If you go back to that time, Texas was considered football school, and basketball was still trending in a way we hope upward. But Coach left the ACC school to come here at Clemson, and he felt like Texas could be special, and we had all the things in place to be special, and he sold that. And our staff went out and, we felt like we can go out and recruit anybody. We went against the Blue Bloods to get players, and we developed them. And Coach is about culture and a lot of the same things that RT and myself are about.
So Coach Barnes is one of my favorite guys of all time, so I know he would be okay with me asking this because we shared many laughs. So I need your favorite Rick Barnes story that he helped you with, like something on the deep level, but then also the comedic gold that Coach Barnes always came up with.
Man, that's a tough one because there's so many, coaches like, I met him before he, changed a little bit. Yeah. But he's just so intense. Coach would make you feel like he wasn't paying attention, but he was so smart. And I know RT would tell you this too. I find myself, when I became a head coach, I picked up a lot of the things that he would do with our guys in terms of getting them to understand how hard they needed to play. And but I don't like talking the comedic stuff about Coach because it was very deep in some of the things he would do to RT and myself. And but he liked to keep it loose. Yeah. I think that was a special thing about Coach. He never took himself too seriously, and he wanted guys around him that never took themselves too seriously.
I want to go into your background because I did a little more research on your story, and it's amazing. It's phenomenal, and it's just a great story of perseverance, and it doesn't matter where you come from, you put in the work that you're able to have success in life. Tell me about the name Alan White.
Wow, that's great. Alan White was the athletic director at Elon College, and but when I was in my youth level playing sports, he was my football coach when I was 12 years old, 10 years old. And obviously, I moved down south, raised by my grandmother.
From New York, correct?
New York.
Okay.
And so Alan White became one of the mentors in my life in terms of men that I felt like were father figures to me. And I went to Elon. I went there to play football, but didn't play sports, but I wanted to coach. I wanted to teach. And he encouraged me to follow my dreams. And I got involved with the basketball program, Bob Burton there. And the one thing I always felt like, not being a great player, what could separate you from others? And hard work was that category. And I became a guy that worked 8 weeks of camp and just the whole summer. That's how all I did. And then I became a student assistant at Elon. And my career moved from there. I remember going out recruiting at Elon. I had a 74 hatchback Pinto, and I had to put oil in it about every 100 miles, because it would leak oil. And one of my first recruiting trips was at Fork Union Academy, and I met Dave Odom. He was assistant at UVA at that time. And he invited me to work some of his camps, 5-star camps. And then when he got the job at Wake Forest, I want that kind of guy with me. So I tell young people all the time in the profession that, and you said it, it doesn't matter where you come from. If you have a characteristic, and that's one, being a hard worker, you always have a chance to be what you want to be.
And I don't ask about this to make light of it, but I think it's important for a person like yourself that has had professional success, has made their money, so you look like almost that you've come from a different background than maybe that you actually came from. When you were at Elon, is it true that you had room in a ticket booth or in the gym where you lived?
It was a closet. And I couldn't, I paid for my school education. I didn't get a scholarship. So part of my room and board was I lived in the gym, and, but there's some perks there. I had free laundry I could have, and access to the weight room or, swimming pool, all the stuff was in there. But I lived in the gym. It was, literally it was probably big as this. My bedroom and my TV and my kitchen were all within setting distance, and but that's what I did to help pay for school, and but I wouldn't trade any of that, because that became who I am, in terms of understanding where I come from. I washed laundry, I swept floors, none of that was beneath me. I did whatever I needed to do to be successful.
How have you been able to change as a person while still holding on to those values that were instilled with you such a long time ago?
LJ, I just think that everybody's opportunities are, your life is, you gotta live where your feet are at. And I learned from all my opportunities. I embraced all my opportunities, and I appreciated all my opportunities. And I took advantage of all my opportunities. So I never, looked at it as why me or looked at it as anything other than, you're gonna grow from these things that happen in your life, and you're gonna be better for it. At a young age, all my mentors, my coaches, instilled that in me. They were who I wanted to be. And, that's the kind of influence and impact they had on my life.
Last thing I got for you, what's your why?
I can that kind of goes with what I was just mentioning about my coaches and being impactful in my life. I wanted to do that same thing. So that's why I went into coaching, because I wanted to impact young people. And that's why I think RT and I connect so well, because it's more than just the basketball.
Yeah.
It's life skills. And it's being able to have those guys come back and reach back to you and say, thank you for what you did for me. And that's more than it wins. Now, we win to have to keep our jobs, but my why is being impactful in young people's lives, just like RT's.
Yeah, you guys both doing a tremendous job, and it's unreal to hear about the stories that go into making a successful person like yourself. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for opening up. And congratulations on everything you've done in life and your career.